Hello everybody, Rebel RX here, and you're watching Rebel RX, and welcome back to Doki Doki Fallen Angel. Part 3, I believe. We have different choices here for the situation between Yuri and Natsuki. I can either pretend I wasn't listening or attempt to defuse the situation. I'm gonna see if I can defuse it. I think you both are very talented and have very unique writing styles.
That's a load of bull right there.
I went too hard on that. Whoops. I sink back into my seat. Oh no, if I go back... Alright. So, we... Sorry, I wasn't listening. It was like we got shoved or something, I think. Alright, but... No, never mind. That happens regardless. I sink back into my seat. I really need to start preparing myself for difficult questions these girls might ask. Excuse me, Natsuki, but I don't think you have any right to talk to Rebel like that.
You know what I think, Yuri? I think when I first met you, I was excited to meet someone who I thought would also share the same interests as me. But now, I see that you're just some stuck-up bitch. No wonder you have no friends.
Ooh. Yuri runs out of the classroom, wiping her eyes with her sleeve. I stare deeply at Natsuki. I see regret in her eyes.
I should go apologize.
I don't know. I can't quite think of a voice for Natsuki. Before I can process what just happened, Natsuki is already out of the classroom. I turn to Monika. Aren't you gonna do something? Should I? You're Miss President, aren't you? You should go help resolve the situation. I think that'll be fine. She walks off. What the hell? How's the club president not gonna do anything here? I don't think Yuri wants to see Natsuki right now, so maybe it's best if I intervene. I start to walk towards the door to go find Yuri. Rebel! I'm stopped cold in my tracks by Monika's sudden shift in tone. You should stay here. Yuri just needs some time to herself to calm down. There's something ominous about the way Monika said that, but maybe she's right. I think the ominous part is because I said it, not her. Yuri will come back when she's ready. Okay, everyone. It's just about time for us to leave. How did you all feel about sharing poems?
It was a lot of fun. It was alright.
Rebel, how about you? I guess it was okay. It was a neat thing to talk about with everyone. Awesome! In that case, we'll do the same thing tomorrow. And maybe you learn something from your friends too, so your poems will turn out even better. I did learn a little more about the kind of poems everyone likes. With any luck, that means I can at least do a better job impressing those I want to impress.
Rebel, ready to walk home?
Sure, let's go. Sayori beams. Sayori beams at me. It's truly been a while since Sayori and I have spent this much time together. I can't really say I'm not enjoying it either. Sayori, about what happened earlier.
Yeah, what do you mean?
You know, between Yuri and Natsuki. That kind of thing happen often?
No. That's really the first time I've seen them fight like that. I promise they're both wonderful people. You don't hate them, do you?
I shouldn't judge people based off only just 2 days. No, I don't hate them, I just wanted your opinion, that's all. I see why they make good friends with you.
You know, Rebel, it's nice that I get to spend time with you in the club. I think seeing you get along with everyone else is what makes me the happiest. I think everyone really likes you too.
That's...
Every day is gonna be so much fun!
Looks like Sayori still hasn't caught on to the kind of situation I'm in. Sure, being friends with everyone is nice, but does it really need to stop there? We'll just have to see what the future holds, Sayori. I pat Sayori on the shoulder. I said that more to myself than her, but it's easy to use Sayori as an internal monologue sometimes.
Okay!
Let's do this. Time to write another poem. Yuri seemed to like the last one I wrote. She seems to be fond of using symbolic meanings in her poems. Maybe I could do something like that again to impress her. Well, I'm back in the literature club. I don't know if dialogue would have been different there, so I'm gonna create a separate save. Crap, I forgot something. I forgot to do something. Of course, this happened during the recording. When I look around, everything seems to be going normally. Yuri is reading her book, and Natsuki disappeared into the closet. And a closet again, ain't that? Okay, No! Hey, Yuri. I suddenly noticed that Yuri is reading a different book from the one we've been reading together. I turned my head to read the cover. Portrait of Markov? There it is. Huh? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. No. I was just kind of waiting for you. If that's the case, why don't we go ahead and get started? Yes, let's. Actually, I have a request. Do you mind if I make some tea first? That sounds great, Yuri. Thanks. There's one thing that can make my reading time here any better. It's a nice line of cocaine. Not to mention for yourself as well. Yuri stands up and makes her way to the closet. I follow and watch as she retrieves a small water pitcher from the shelf, the kind with a filter inside. Can you hold this for a second? Sure. Yuri hands me the water pitcher and also fetches an electric kettle. I'm going to plug this in at the teacher's desk, and then we'll go get some water. She walks past me and sets the kettle down on the teacher's desk. I simply watch her movements. To my surprise, the way she moves really contrasts her speaking mannerisms. Especially because of her long legs. Yuri appears elegant and methodical. Okay, may I have the water pitcher? I hand Yuri back the water pitcher. Thanks. I'll be right back. I might as well walk with you rather than just standing here. Yeah, why not? Shall we go then? Where are you two off to? Huh? Yuri and we're gonna go get some... I suddenly realized how weird it sounds to explain this to Monica. Rebel and I were going to fill the water pitcher, Monica. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was just a bit curious. That's kind of a one-person job, isn't it? Monica, would you kindly remove your nose from other people's business? From other people's affairs? Or do you want to tell me there's something wrong with helping involve Rebel in club activities? Are you upset because I'm doing more to involve a new member in the club than you are? Hey! I suppose there's nothing wrong with that. Then let's go, Rebel. Yuri quickly exits the room. I look around the room. I see Sayori dig her face deeper into her book. Over in the corner, Natsuki recedes back into the closet. The look on Monica scares me. I quickly follow Yuri out into the corridor. Once in the hallway, she suddenly puts her forehead against the wall. I spoke without thinking. How could I say something like that? Yuri. Something about the way she said that. It made me feel so irritated. What's wrong with me? Why do I have to make myself so unlikable? No, Yuri. I think you did the right thing. I wasn't expecting it, but it's also not right for Monica to judge people like that. Rebel, how come even when I do something bad, you're being nice to me? Because nothing that you do is as bad as you make it seem in your head. Nobody's perfect. We have emotions, and we can't always hide them away. But you always amplify things in your head. Your mind turns a light rain shower into a hurricane. No, won't you hate me for something as terrible as that? Why would I hate you? I can't hate someone for having emotions. What kind of friend would do that? Friend, you say? Yuri lifts her head. Rebel, I really like being friends with you. Thanks, Yuri. Did I just get friend-zoned already? I like being friends with you too. I feel kind of awkward saying something like that, but I'm doing my best to help Yuri feel better. Anyways, yeah, shall we go? Yeah. We arrive at the water fountain. Yuri begins to fill up the pitcher. Do you think Monica's mad at me, Rebel? I think back to Monica's blank expression. I don't think Monica's the type of person who would get upset over something like that. I should apologize to her. Right? I think so. Just tell her how you feel. It wasn't right for her to intrude on us. Oh, I thought we were gonna say more. You're right. I'm just not very good at displaying my emotions. I don't really get to experience social interactions as much as other people. When I do, I usually end up embarrassing myself. I unintentionally give her a look of pity. I try to come up with something to say. Yuri, try harder. I think you have enough water. Huh? Oh. Ah! I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. Yuri is fine. It is? Yeah, I'm sorry I distracted you. Yuri dumps out the excess water. I need something to do here. Yuri is clearly still on edge. Yuri, look at me. It's going to be fine. You didn't do anything wrong. Again, I felt like there was going to be more for me to say. I wasn't focusing on the water. I'm not talking about the water. I mean, with Monica, you don't have anything to worry about. Are you sure? I'm sure. Here, I'll prove it to you. From this moment on, I promise I will do everything in my power to stop anything from hurting you. I realize that was probably a very odd thing to say to a girl I met only 3 days ago, but... So, Thank you, Rebel. Huh? Let's go to the classroom now. Everyone's probably wondering where we are. Yeah, let's go. I'm not entirely sure what just happened, but it appears Yuri at least let go of her current anxiety. As we enter, I can feel the penetrative stares of the other club members. Rebel, do you like oolong tea? I'm not really that knowledgeable when it comes to tea, so I guess whatever is fine. The last time I really had a glass of tea, 18 years ago. Ever since I had my first soda. Tea just never hit the same. That doesn't mean I haven't at least given it a try over the years. There's had been times I've tried, but tea's just not for me. And it's funny too, because I used to drink it all the time. Well, perhaps I can teach you sometime on the art of making tea. Yeah, that'd be a nice date, huh? I guess I said too much. So, what exactly is the first step to making a hot cup of tea? I do my best to lighten the mood. Well, allow me to show you. You always set the temperature on the kettle to 200 degrees. No. It's time to get the teapot. You only do this properly, don't you? Of course. I shouldn't do any less when I'm making tea for others. Even if I'm not an expert on tea or anything? In that case, you'll only be even more impressed. Perhaps I will. Yuri fetches the teapot and begins measuring the tea leaves. I'm getting a pain in my side all of a sudden. To my surprise, she starts humming a little to herself. You must be in a good mood now. Is that so? I was letting it show. And you noticed. I was doing a bit of thinking recently. I decided that I would try expressing myself a little more. Turns out it's not very hard for me to do. When it's you who's around anyway. It's getting hot again. That's great, Yuri. Just don't push yourself too much. You're always worrying about me, Rebel. It's very endearing. That's... I'll watch Yuri pour a cup of tea for each of us. Rebel, I have another request. Do you mind if we sit on the floor today? No, why's that? It's a little easier on my back. I can read with my back against the wall rather than bending over at my That sounds so weird, even reading it. Sorry, I didn't realize. No worries. I just have back pain fairly regularly, so I do my best to manage it. I know how it feels with back pain because mine's been giving me trouble for the last 7 years. Is that so? I wonder why that is. It's mostly likely because your posture, right? Always hunched over like that while reading? Yes, I have terrible reading posture. So that's why we should sit on the floor. Uh-huh. I'm 99% sure we're not talking about reading posture, but it's best if I leave the conversation at that. I'll go get the book. I retrieved the book from my bag. I have some chocolate as well. It's a bag of small chocolate candies that I kept hidden from Sayori's candy radar. I take it since it would go well with the tea. Yuri and I then sitting against the wall, teacups at our sides. At instinct, we assume the position. We assume the same reading position as last time, each holding one half the book. Except this time, our bodies are even closer to each other. I can't see too well. Yuri's slightly closer until our shoulders are touching. How am I supposed to focus on reading like this? I always found Yuri cute since the moment I laid eyes on her, but with being less apprehensive, I feel like my heart is about to burst. Her teacup. Oh, thanks. Holding it with my hand that's not holding the book, I end up in a position that makes it even harder to focus. Because now I need to worry about making sure I don't accidentally touch her posture. Yes, I have to make sure not to touch Yuri's bad reading posture. That's exactly what I need to worry about. Meanwhile, Yuri hasn't noticed a single thing. She wears her intense reading expression, and I can only presume that the world around her has faded away. I call upon every reserve of willpower I have in order to focus on reading. After a few minutes, I finally managed to relax a little. Run, Lena! Keanu shouts at me. I run as fast as I can. I hit something solid and fall on my back. Upon impact, the back of my head collides with the earth. My head begins to throb uncontrollably. I try to see what I ran into. A guard appears before me. He gazes down at me with a sinister smile, then motions to another guard and shouts something foreign. Get off me! I hear Keanu yell from several yards behind me. I try desperately to see what's going on. Suddenly I remember I have chocolate with me. I put the teacup between my legs and fumble with the chocolate wrapper. Sorry. Briefly let go of the book to finish opening the wrapper. You can have as much as you want. That's okay. I won't take any. You sure? Well, if I touch it, then I might get smudges on the pages. I covered the pages with poo. I mean, what? I'll hold the book, okay? Are you sure? Of course. Yuri opens the book with both hands. She holds it so that I don't have any harder of a time reading from it. But as a result, her left arm is practically resting on top of my leg. My brain is short-circuiting at this point. In that case, Yuri has already been dragged back into her book. I take a chocolate candy and pop it into my mouth. I take another chocolate, and I hold it up to Yuri. Doesn't even look away from the book. She simply parts lips as if the situation was completely natural. What the hell am I supposed to do here? I can't stop now! I apprehensively place the chocolate in her mouth. Yes. Just like that, Yuri closes her lips over it. Eh? Did I just... Yuri looks at me like she needs to confirm what just happened. Rebel. Sorry. I guess I shouldn't have done that. One of these days, I will hold a conversation with the girl without making a fool of myself. That's, well, you're just helping. That's something that friends do, right? I mean, not really in this kind of context, but yeah, that's all it was. Then you don't need to stop it. I see. At this point, I can hear my own heart racing. Yuri tries to return to the book, but even I can tell just by her expression that even she can't focus now. I'm in too deep to stop now. I nervously take another chocolate between my fingers. I start to place it into my mouth, but this time, Yuri's eyes meet mine. How did it even come to this? Yuri doesn't avert her gaze. Her lavender eyes pierce through mine. I notice her bad posture rising and falling to the rhythm of her breaths. I have half the chocolate sticking out of my mouth. I lean my face towards Yuri. Brother, they about a lady in a trance from chocolate here. As both of us are in a trance. Our faces growing ever so closer. The rest of the world is gone. It's just me and Yuri and this. Jeez! Okay, everyone! In my panic, I accidentally inhaled the chocolate. Well, there we go. I start to cough uncontrollably while the other members just stare pitifully. I gulp down the rest of Yuri's tea to wash down the chocolate. It's time to share poems. Rebel, you can help Yuri put away the tea stuff, right? Yeah, of course. Okay, thanks. A spell is abruptly broken. I'll take care of the cups. Yeah. Yuri picks up the teacups from the floor. Once I calm down from my near-death experience, I pick up the bag of chocolates. In the end, we hastily clean up without so much as a word between us. As if that didn't get really, really awkward. I get a feeling this is something neither of us will have the courage to bring up. If Yuri already doesn't have the courage to bring it up, then why would you? Show and tell time. Ready to take a look at my poem today? Of course, I'm eager to see how you have improved. I won't exactly say I've improved, but we'll see what happens. I hand Yuri my poem. Mr. Fingers. Okay. Despite bitter judgment, despite what you know, eternity is encased in a rusty cage. No one can leave, no one can be free. The feeling of rust on the fingertips, like rusty spoons, it's almost... The horror of the sound of rusty spoons on a rusty cage. Scraping. Scraping. Scrape. As contamination washes over the desolate landscape, the birds chirping turn to the cries of men, the howling wind turns to the screams of children, the rustling leaves turns to deafening silence. Silence is all there is in a rusty cage, except when the silence is broken by a rusty spoon. Rebel. I really hope Yuri doesn't figure out I wrote this poem down in one go. I have no idea how to use symbolism or anything. Literally everything on my poem is just scrambled words put together to pretend to have meaning. Yuri's a very perceptive reader, though. This isn't good. She's gotta figure out I BS'd my poem. This poem is phenomenal. What? If I had to guess, dissecting this poem, I can see a lot of symbolism. At first glance, it may appear as if the writer had no idea what they were doing. She hit the nail on the head right there. But diving further into it, the way you describe their rusty cage and spoon, and the use of auditory examples. Rebel, correct me if I'm wrong, but this poem is describing the mind of someone with schizophrenia, right? The cage representing the mind. The rusty spoons symbolize the sporadic thoughts that pound on one's brain. And the hard sounds show the hallucinations one hears and sees. What the fuck? Yeah, Yuri, that's exactly what I wanted to convey when writing it. Your poem is indescribable, but in a good way. How did you manage to pick up on these techniques so quickly? Thanks, Yuri, although I'm sure it's nothing in comparison to what you wrote. You flatter me, Rebel. However, you shouldn't cut yourself short. With more practice, you will be able to display to the reader your most inner thoughts. I don't know, Yuri. The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma. I can't do the voice like I once did. Milk spills. That reminds me of that little gif I saw. It's just like a thought bubble hanging above Sayori with a carton of milk that just topples over. Dang it, even I can see that now. Anyways, please continue. Yes, as I was saying previously, you shouldn't be afraid to be more daring with your work. Rather than writing down your thoughts, write down what you see and hear. That sounds like a good exercise, Yuri. Maybe I'll try it out. I have an example of that. If you maybe want to. I'd love to read it. Yuri smiles dreamily and hands me her poem. The Raccoon. It happened in the dead of night, while I was slicing bread for a guilty snack. My attention was caught by the scuttering of a raccoon outside my window. That was, I believe, the first time I noticed my strange tendencies as an unordinary human. I gave the raccoon a piece of bread, my subconscious well aware of the consequences, well aware that a raccoon that is fed will always come back for more. The enticing beauty of my cutting knife was a symptom. The bread, my hungry curiosity. The raccoon, an urge. The moon increments its phase and reflects that much more light off of my cutting knife. The very same light that glistens in the eyes of my raccoon friend. I slice the bread, fresh and soft. The raccoon becomes excited. Or perhaps I'm merely projecting my emotions onto the newly satisfied animal. The raccoon has taken to following me. You could say that we've gotten quite used to each other. The raccoon becomes hungry more and more frequently, so my bread is always handy. Every time I brandish my cutting knife, the raccoon shows me its excitement. A rush of blood. Classic Pavlovian conditioning. I slice the bread, and I feel myself again. And I feed myself again. I don't know what I was doing in the end there, but I was a little more daring with this one than yesterday's. I can see that. It's a lot more metaphorical. Maybe I'm just dense, but I don't even have the slightest clue as to what this poem is supposed to mean. That's right, it's a bit closer to my preferred writing style, using the poem as a canvas to express vivid imagery and conveying the emotions through them. Yeah, if I take it as face value, then I can't even figure out what it's supposed to mean. Well, I think it's something that different people can relate to in their own way. I wanted to express the way it feels for me to indulge in my more unusual hobbies. It's those sorts of things that I'm usually forced to keep to myself. So I sometimes enjoy writing about them. Why do you keep them to yourself? Because they're embarrassing. People would make fun of me. Do you really think that, Yuri? Well, I suppose I can't speak for everyone, but I want you to know that no matter how strange your hobbies may be, I would never judge you based off them. You don't really mean that? Of course I do. Everyone has their own weird hobbies that they may not want to share. Plus, it's not like you're doing anything dangerous, right? Right? I mean, I know I have a lot of guilty pleasures I'm embarrassed about. I feel like everyone has a little something like that. The best we can do is respect each other and our individualities. Yes, this reminds me of something that I said not too long ago. That you don't always have to agree with one's decisions as long as you can respect them. Because the decision they made was theirs, not yours. Even if it's difficult sometimes and some things that make us uncomfortable. After all, if I hadn't learned to embrace my own weirdness, I would probably hate myself. I might be ranting a little bit now, but I'm glad that you're a good listener. You're good at a lot of things, writing and listening. Really aren't many people like you, Rebel. That's exaggerating a little bit. It's just how I feel. I never thought I would feel so comfortable sharing my writing. But now, I almost feel like I look forward to it. It's just a really nice feeling, and you ought to thank for that. I try to hide the fact that I'm starting to blush. It's nothing, really. Well, once again, that's everyone. After yesterday, I feel like it was a bit easier to share my point today. With that, ladies and... Okay. With that, ladies and gents, that is all the time I have for this episode, unfortunately. If I want to be able to... doing this from my phone makes me have to cut things shorter than I would like. I do apologize. But, ladies and gents, thank you so much for watching this. And I will see you all in the next one. Have a great day, great night, whatever time it is that you are watching this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!